Before gods walked the heavens, before Japan had a name, two divine beings stirred the ocean with a spear, and from the ripples, an entire world was born. But how did it all begin? Japanese mythology is a beautiful blend of ancient creation stories, powerful gods, tragic love, epic battles, and mystical creatures. It's the spiritual foundation of Japan, explaining where the world came from, why the sun is sacred, and why the Japanese emperor once claimed descent from the gods themselves. In this video, we'll dive deep into the origins of Japanese mythology, from the very first deities to the tales that still echo in shrines, temples, and anime today. You'll uncover the full journey of Japan's mythical beginnings. Stick around. Some of the stories are stranger, darker, and more epic than you think. Long before there was earth, sky, or even time, there was nothing. Just a shapeless, silent chaos. In this void, three deities appeared out of nowhere. They were known as the Three Heavenly Beings, or Zoka Sanshin, Amenomi Nakanushi, the center of heaven. Kamimusubi. These deities were abstract and didn't take physical form. They existed only in spirit and vanished soon after, but they laid the foundation for what was to come. Next, more gods were born, some in pairs. These pairs were male and female, and they started taking on roles. They created order out of the chaos, bringing the universe into shape. Among these deities came the most important duo, Izanagi, he who invites, and Izanami, she who invites. The gods above gave them a task: create the land of Japan. Armed with a magical jewel-covered spear called Ame no Nuboko, Izanagi and Izanami stood on the floating bridge of heaven. They dipped the spear into the swirling sea below and stirred. When they pulled it out, droplets fell and formed the first island, Onogoro-shima. The two gods descended to this island, built a pillar, and performed a sacred wedding ritual by walking around it in opposite directions. But their first attempt failed. The female spoke first during the ritual, something considered out of order. Their first children were malformed and cast away. They tried again, this time properly, and succeeded. From their union, they gave birth to Awaji Island, Kyushu, Shikoku, and Honshu, the main islands of Japan, and many more smaller islands. After that, they gave birth to the gods of wind, sea, rivers, mountains, trees, and even fire. But tragedy struck. When Izanami gave birth to the fire god Kagutsuchi, the flames burned her body. She died and descended to Yomi, the Japanese underworld. Heartbroken, Izanagi followed her into the land of the dead, but Yomi was dark and decaying. He found her, but she begged him not to look at her face. He couldn't resist. He lit a fire and saw her corpse, rotting, filled with maggots and crawling with death. Furious and ashamed, Izanami chased him back to the surface. He escaped, sealed the entrance to Yomi with a massive rock, and declared that they were now forever separated. This myth explains the cycle of life and death, and it introduces Yomi, the Japanese realm of the dead. After his journey to the underworld, Izanagi needed to cleanse himself as he washed. From his left eye, the radiant sun goddess Amaterasu was born. From his right eye, the moon god Tsukuyomi emerged. From his nose, the storm god Susanoo was created. These three children became the most important deities in Japanese mythology. Amaterasu ruled the heavens and became the queen of the celestial realm. She was the goddess of the sun and light, and later became the ancestor of Japan's imperial family. Tsukuyomi, the moon god. He ruled the night, but after killing the goddess of food in anger, he was banished by Amaterasu and never saw her again. This explains why the sun and moon are apart in the sky. Susanoo, the storm god. Wild and destructive, Susanoo was cast out for his uncontrollable rage. In one story, he went too far, destroying Amaterasu's rice fields and even killing her maidens. She hid herself in a cave, causing darkness to fall over the world. To lure her out, the gods performed a ritual and a dance. When Amaterasu peeked out, they showed her a mirror. Curious, she stepped out, and light returned to the world. This tale gave rise to sacred rituals and the mirror as a holy symbol in Shinto. Amaterasu later sent her grandson, Ninigi no Mikoto, down to earth to rule. He carried with him three sacred treasures. One, The mirror, Amaterasu's gift. 2. The jewel, a symbol of wisdom. 3. The sword, from Susanoo. These are known as the imperial regalia of Japan, symbolizing legitimacy, power, and divine ancestry. Ninigi's great-grandson was Emperor Jimmu, Japan's first emperor, believed to be a direct descendant of the gods. This myth gave Japan's rulers their divine right to rule, a concept known as Tenno, or heavenly sovereign. In the 8th century, 2 important books were compiled. The Kojiki, Records of Ancient Matters, Japan's oldest book. The Nihon Shoki, Chronicles of Japan, a more detailed historical version. These books recorded Japan's mythology, genealogy of emperors, and stories of gods. They helped shape Japan's national identity and link its emperors to the heavens. Japanese mythology isn't just about powerful gods. It's filled with kami, spiritual beings that live in rivers, trees, rocks, animals, even emotions. Kami can be kind or dangerous. They aren't all powerful like gods in other cultures. Instead, they exist in nature, in people, and in places. This belief is central to Shinto, Japan's native religion. Shrines across Japan honor specific kami, where people pray for health, luck, or safety. Over time, myths mixed with folklore. Creatures like kappa, water goblins; Tengu, mountain spirits with long noses; Kitsune, foxes with magical powers; Oni, demons with horns and clubs. These beings became part of everyday life. People told stories of them to explain strange events or teach lessons. Even today, these creatures appear in anime, manga, and festivals. As Japan modernized, especially after World War II, fewer people paid attention to traditional myths. Cities grew, and technology replaced old rituals. Fewer children were taught about Izanagi, Amaterasu, or the 8-headed dragon. Some feared these ancient stories would fade forever, but something strange happened. Instead of vanishing, Japanese mythology found new life. Shrines and festivals kept traditions alive. Japanese anime and video games, like Naruto, Okami, or Persona, reintroduced gods and kami to younger generations. Schools began teaching mythology again. Foreigners around the world started exploring Shinto and Japanese legends out of curiosity. In a way, the old gods never left. They simply changed their form. Today, the spirit of Japanese mythology is everywhere, from quiet shrines in Tokyo to global pop culture. The mirror of Amaterasu is still honored in the imperial palace. People still pray to Inari for business success, to Hachiman for protection, and to Tenjin for good grades. Modern Japan may be digital and fast-paced, but its heart still beats with the rhythm of ancient myths. The stories of Izanagi, Susanoo, and Amaterasu aren't just history, they're living memory. Japanese mythology began with nothingness, and from that void, the gods created a world full of light, storms, death, rebirth, and spirit. These stories shaped Japan's culture, religion, and even its emperors. They remind us that every mountain, every tree, and every river holds a soul, that behind the sun and the moon are divine siblings, and that from a spear's ripple came a nation. In understanding these myths, we don't just learn about Japan's past, we understand how it sees the world.